all for coming. I know that you have pretty busy schedules, so it's nice that you took out time to come to this seminar. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about drug misuse and abuse. Slide. Okay, I want you guys to meet Beth. Beth was in the military. One day Beth had a really bad headache, and she didn't feel like getting up and going to the store and buying Excedrin or ibuprofen, so she asked her friend if she had any medication. So of course this friend said yes. This friend gave Beth some medication, and shortly after, her headache was gone. Well, the next day, randomly, Beth was chosen for a drug test. Of course, the test came back positive, and within a few months, Beth was no longer in the military. She didn't know that the medication that she took was actually prescribed to her friend by a provider for migraines. Do you think that it was worth losing her job to take this medication? Do you think that something worse could have happened to her? Because if Beth was allergic to this medication, she could have possibly died. Next slide. So, the use of prescription drugs is actually meant to help people. It's to help you with something as simple as a common cold or something as big as pneumonia. The misuse of medication is something that we should all try to avoid because it has negative effects in not only your personal life, but your work life and even maybe your family life. Next slide. Next slide. A little bit about myself. I work at a pediatric clinic in the 2nd Medical Group. I'm in the military just like all of you. I actually learned and know a lot about drug use. And so I figured that this would be a good topic to talk to you guys about. So we're going to talk about how drug misuse and abuse is illegal. I bet you guys didn't even know that. Some of you may have. It basically goes against the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. And there's also a U.S. code that is on prescriptions that specifically states that unless prescribed by a provider, not even a pharmacist, a healthcare provider, medications should not be given to people. Unless maybe it's an over-the-counter medication, that's an exception. It'd be silly to think that in all situations we wouldn't be able to take a medication if we need it. For instance, if you have an allergic reaction, you might use someone else's EpiPen because it's life or death. So those are the exceptions. But all of these exceptions must be in accordance with the FDC Act guidelines, which is what we just talked about. Next slide. So now that we've talked about how it's illegal, let's talk about how drug misuse can affect you on your job. Slide. Even as a civilian, when you're going on a job, you have to do an interview. You have to go through all these different processes, including a drug test, before you even get the job. But in the military, we specifically have a zero tolerance for drug abuse. It's against the UCMJ, and you can face severe punishments for this. The Air Force is allowed to do random urinalysis and probable cause tests on all of the people working for them, well, all of the active duty people. So if you were to pop positive, you're subject to basically any type of punishment underneath the UCMJ, which is our Uniform Code of Military Justice. You can get paperwork, you can lose clearances, and you can even get separated and discharged dishonorably from the military, ruining your career. Now that we've talked about all the legalities of drug misuse, let's talk about how it can hurt you as a person. Next slide. So there's many dangers of drug misuse. Michael Klein, who is actually the director of the Food and Drug Administration Controlled Substance staff, had an interview for the FDA where they highlighted possible things that can go wrong if you're taking medications that do not belong to you. He said that there's no medical oversight, meaning a provider doesn't get to know what's going on with you. They don't know what other medications you're taking that might interact with it. They don't know if you may be allergic to it, and this can cause trouble with your health. You can end up having seizures, you can have high blood pressure, or you can even die. This also states that you run the risk of becoming addicted. Klein highlighted how many medications are highly addictive. And when you're taking them, you become very dependent on them, and you can possibly overdose from these medications. So it's clear to see that using other people's medications is very harmful in your life. In conclusion, I would like to let you know that it is important to avoid using medications that do not belong to you. The negative consequences of doing this are too great to even risk, legally, in your job, or in your personal life. So ask yourself, are you willing to lose your job, your freedom, or even your life just to take medication that was never yours to begin with? Thank you guys for listening to me. Have a good day.